Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR. And so here I am recording this on Sunday, August 4th, after Palantir closed last week on Friday, August 2nd, at a price of $24.74, being down a little over 5% on the day and gapping down. And so I wanted to do a video on Palantir before trading starts tomorrow, Monday, August 5th, because Palantir reports their earnings on the 5th after the market closes. And so they will be reporting earnings, hosting a call at 5 p.m. Eastern. And so I will likely start a stream to stream their earnings call, going over the charts as they have that call. And I will likely be starting that at 4:30 Eastern, but I might be starting it just before the market closes because there has been some unusual options activity that I wanted to go over that could be, setting up for a pretty nice swing around earnings. So I wanted to go over that before, of course, Monday starts. And so here, looking at the chart, some things that I wanted to go over, really just levels to the downside. Unfortunately, this unusual activity that I was alerted to by unusual whales, and I looked into, saw some other interesting activity. It suggests that there is over 500,000 going short, going against Palantir right around earnings, with the expiration coming up this Friday on August 9th. And so I think that those pretty big bets, I don't know about you, but over $500,000, that's a lot of money to me. That is an unusual whale activity. And so, I think that there could be some volatile moves, believe it or not, to the downside still. And so I just wanted to go over some levels in the chart that stand out to me, potentially acting as support if we do go lower, before we get into that options data. And so here, what I have drawn on the chart is this Fibonacci retracement going from the low of 2033 that was hit on April 19th, going up to the recent high of 2983 that was hit on July 18th. And from that, we can see a number of levels that do stand out to me. One of those being the 618 at a price of right around $24, to be precise, $23.96. We did wick below that on Friday, August 2nd, hitting a low of $23.75. But as you can see, we did wick below that, and we closed above at a price of $24.74. And so some things that stand out to me, other levels in this retracement. One is the 50% retracement at a price of $25.08, or right around $25. Would be great to see Palantir holding above that level. Could suggest some strength, but it could also be a fake out before earnings. So good to be careful about that. Levels to the upside, one is this blue line that I've drawn here at 26.08, which was the closing price on Thursday. We do have a gap that needs to be filled to the upside there, but given that we saw this gap down, coming down more than 5%, I think that there might be some resistance there. People who were buying expecting price to go higher, or got caught off guard with this gap down, they might be looking to trim their position up there. So I think that $26 could be a level of resistance, and that does also correspond with the 382 here at a price of $26.20. And interestingly, I don't always look at the volume profile, but I do have that here, and the volume average high looks like it's at a price of $26.03, so just 5 cents below that gap fill level. So I find that to be pretty interesting. I do think that is going to be a key level if we do see some movement to the upside that's above 25.08. I think we might be bumping our heads here. But if we can break above that and hold above that, I think that would be really good. Also, price right around here does look like there is a nice volume shelf there. So maybe we are finding support where we are at. But what actually stands out a little bit more to me is this volume shelf down here. Also, it does look like we have the volume average low right around there, around $20. Actually kind of hard to see with this other level just above it at 2104. I believe that's the volume point of control. I might be mistaken about that, but that is, as you can see, very low here. But I do think that 20 to 21 is kind of the lower range where we could be seeing price go, and actually that has to be above 20 because 2033 is the base of this Fibonacci. But anyways, ranging from about 20 to 21, I think that's like the worst case scenario for the downside, because there are some levels just above that I think might be acting as support. One of those being the 786 at a price of 22.36. And just below that, we have the yellow line here at 21.85, which corresponds to this pivot high over here hit on November 21st. That was the high that we saw after the earnings from November, before we pulled back before the earnings that were reported in February. So, I think that could be a pretty significant level, given that it was a pivot high from the past, could be a level of support in the future. And I'm actually going to remove this volume profile for just a second because I did want to also go over this downtrend from the pivot high from March 7th, hitting the pivot high from May 6th. From those 2 points, we get this downtrend that does seem to coincide with these two horizontal levels that I just went over, 21.85 and 22.36. So maybe we do find some support there if we do see bearish movement either leading up to or following earnings. Given that we only have 1 day of trading before the earnings report is in the after hours, I feel like price will be coming down to that level, likely after earnings. Unfortunately, I think we might be seeing a gap down on this earnings report. I know people don't want to hear that, but that is what the chart could be suggesting, which is supported by unusual whales, unusual options activity. And so I wanted to go over that. And so I have already done this search based on Palantir up here, as you can see. And I must say, I have limited this to only puts and only on the ask side. So that suggests that these orders were bought, suggesting that they were bought with the expectation of price going down. All orders were placed on August 2nd, and all of them are out of the money. So, it's kind of a gamble with them being out of the money, especially with the expiration being August 9th, this coming Friday. But these are very big orders, and they seem to be suggesting that price will be going lower following earnings, with 4 days before the expiration after the earnings report. So, great opportunity to capitalize on that premium and exit the position. So, I find that to be really interesting, because I'd like to accumulate more shares lower, but also because, I'd like to swing for some premium just for fun though, because this is all risky. Options are risky. But looking at these contracts, this one we can see here, this trade was part of a flow alert. So I'm going to explore that by clicking on it. And we can see here, this is a put for a strike of $21 expiring on August 9th. And the total amount of premium for these contracts is just under 200,000, $181,764. So that's a lot of money going into this, betting on price going down. And, we can see the premium for these individual orders, but they are all the same strike price. They are all ask and puts. So we can see that these orders are expecting price to go down. And the average fill price for them is 44 cents per contract. So that's 44 cents times 100 shares, $44 per contract. And we can kind of compare that to the options table back over in Webull. So I'm just going to pull that up here looking at puts. And that was a strike of $21. So I'm going to look over here. And to buy a call, that premium is 45 cents here. But since these contracts are out of the money and there is going to be some theta decay to them, I would expect that this would be opening on Monday at a price lower than 45 cents. So it's quite possible the average fill of 44 or maybe even lower could be filled if one wanted to bet on price going down following earnings. And so this was a contract these contracts were alerted by unusual whales. I noticed that, looked into it further, and then I also found some other puts that are also on the ask side. This one at a strike of 21.50. This one here, a whopping nearly $300,000 premium on that, with an average fill price of 66 cents. So, if I do look over at the options table here, we can see $21.50. That buy is at 54 cents. So with the fill, the average fill being at 66 cents, they're actually at a discount right now relative to these. So I do think, that could be something nice to explore. And also note that these are majority, not all of them, but majority of them were filled on the ask side, suggesting that these puts were bought and that the bet is that price is going down. And then there was another contract that I noticed here, $20.50. And we can look at that one here. The premium for all of these contracts, over 100,000, 135, and the total of these three that we're looking at is just over 600,000, so over $500,000. So a lot of money betting on Palantir going down, and we can see here that the average fill for this contract is 38 cents. And if we look over at the table, it's actually at 36 cents right now. So, it is at a little bit of a discount considering this whale activity. And I should note that this order was placed at about 9:41 in the morning on Friday, whereas the one with the strike of 21.50 was filled at a time of right around 9:44, whereas the other one, which was filled at 12:43. So, these were all filled on August 2nd, on Friday, before earnings day on Monday, tomorrow, August 5th. So these big bets, over $500,000 betting on Palantir coming down following earnings. I could see price coming down to 22.36, maybe 21.85. And so I think the range between 21 to about 23 seems pretty interesting. If price does come down, might be a nice time to accumulate some more shares or maybe to participate in these puts. I think it's going to be an exciting day. I look forward to streaming their earnings call, and I look forward to seeing you there. But, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.